we Why do we do that? Like, I'm totally normal. Then we go live and I'm like, woo.
A lot more energy. A lot more energy.
I know. A minute ago, I was like, yeah, so let's just figure it out. Let's figure it out. Then we're live and I'm like, we're live.
Yeah. A
It's
lot more
so
energy.
funny. You know what's funny is I used to always tell my coach, I'm like, I'm not going to get hype in practice. Like, I'm just not. I'm not like, I'll practice. I'll do my thing. I'll do my part. I'll be, but in the games, trust me, you got me. Like I'm all in. But during practice, like I'm not the best practicer, but I'm ready to go at game time. So I feel like that's kind of what this is. I'm like, live, turn me on. I'm ready. Oh God, here we go. So welcome, everyone. I think Goat has said we're singing now. Okay, so that means he can hear us and you can hear me. So welcome everyone back to the most fun I will have all week, and that is talking to my good old co-host, Rye. So how are you,
Right.
sir? What's going on with
Oh,
you?
I can't call it. Just recovering from the election. So here we are.
Yeah, here we are, showing up, ready to go. That's what I
Yeah,
was like.
yeah, yeah.
I know.
Life goes
I
on.
appreciated all the people that like called and they're like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, I'm gonna be good no matter who wins. That's the joke. Like I'm fine. So that's the secret is I'm gonna be good. So but anyways, it happened. Glad it happened. Glad it's over. Glad now I can do my autopsy and like dig deep and give my thoughts and opinions. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, we march on, right? Life goes on.
Facts.
I just checked and my cell phone bill got taken out just the same. So nobody cares. Um, so there's that. And the other thing is too, like, how have you been? How are you this football season? How are you feeling about football? Is anything like, are you excited for this week? What did you feel about last week? We just passed the trade deadline in the NFL. Anything shock you on the trade deadline? The Steelers got a freaking receiver for crying out loud. So that was
hmm
fun. Did anything shock you, or how are you feeling about the trades?
Um, no, I don't think anything shocked me. Glad to see D Hop with a good quarterback. I think the last one he had that I can remember was Deshaun Watson when Deshaun Watson was good. So I'm happy to see, what I'm saying, him have an opportunity to be in the twilight of his career where somebody's great at the quarterback position.
I agree.
Uh,
I agree.
yeah. So
I
so
just had to
so
change it. We were in episode 9. Now we're in 10. Sorry.
yeah.
See, we're not. The truth is, we're not going back. We actually are. So, anyways, but go ahead. So,
No,
did you expect him to go for only a fifth?
yeah, I figured it'd be something a lot around that.
Okay,
A team like Kansas City, they got to rely heavily on the draft, so they're not going to give up a whole lot of draft capital
got it.
to get a wide receiver or pretty much any position because they
They don't have
can't
to.
they contract strap, so
Hmm.
they have to draft well. Usually teams like that, and honestly, the Cowboys is facing that same problem right now. They're
They're
going to
a
be cash.
dumpster fire.
Yeah, Ca- I'm not a Cowboys fan, so I don't look at them like some people do. I think that the same thing I the same thing I've said since they fired Jimmy Johnson is that they got an ownership problem, but until he gets his hands out of the, until he quits wanting the spotlight, they're gonna always have these issues. Until he gets somebody in there that's gonna tell him no,
Yep.
they're always gonna have this type of issue. But their biggest problem is that he waited too long to sign Dak and CD. If he had just signed Dak a year ago, then they wouldn't be cash strapped. So
Oh,
that's
that's
his fault.
interesting. Yeah,
It's his
that's
fault.
true. I also think though that like he doesn't. I don't think he knows what he's doing. I mean, I think it's as simple as that. I think he I think people like him are what happens when like you're a fan so much of what you're doing that you can't function and think like a team because you love it. You know what I mean? It's like
Mhm.
in a weird way, it's almost like I don't know. I'm a little bit more ruthless, but like there's a part of me like when you're a fan of the Steelers, and I'm like, I don't care, let him go. It's not like when Troy was done. Like I was the first person in the fan base was so pissed at me. I was like, it's time. Like guys, he's
Mhm.
2 steps too slow. Let his ass go. And people are like,
Mhm.
no, but it's Troy. And I'm like, you can't fall in love with the players. You have to fall in love with the organization, because then you have to do what's good for the organization. And that is letting old people go. Like and I don't think I think Jerry Jones falls in love with his players so much that he can't see the forest from the trees. He just
Mhm.
can't quite. And then because I think he did this last time with Dak and Ezekiel Elliott. I think he waited too long to sign them
Mhm.
the first time. And
Mhm.
so it's like
Right.
he's always playing catch up. So
Mhm.
he's terrible. But
Right.
the other thing, there's a lot of organizations though that are terrible. The
Yeah, you're right.
Panthers
I
are
mean,
so bad.
Carolina. Yeah, Carolina.
They're so
And you know what? I don't even. People don't like their owner. I don't have any detailed knowledge on him. I don't know if he's a bad owner or he's impatient as far as winning.
mm,
For a guy to bring Cam back, um,
good question.
oh boy, last year. I mean, come on. I don't know what's really going on at Carolina. I'm not a Carolina fan. I don't watch them that close. I
Yeah.
don't really know the inner workings of it. But sometimes you can be impatient, and your impatience doesn't. You know what I'm saying? You miss on the team bill. Like you
True.
waited
That's
right.
true.
You just miss on the
You
team bill.
do you think sometimes too that like these organizations forget that they're like in Carolina? So like you don't necessarily get like the best of the best to come there, because they're kind of like, I could go to like the Rams or Green Bay. You know what I mean? Like those are just bigger names. And it's so like, I guess what I'm trying to say is I think some teams have to be a little bit more methodical and strategic in the way they build their organizations, because they're probably not going to get the big free agents. And so you have to build your core. But I don't think these people realize that that's who they are. Does that make sense? Like, you know what I mean? Like, for example, if Patrick Mahomes becomes available, he's not going to Carolina. Like, he's not going from like Kansas City to like Carolina. That's not, those teams aren't in the same in the same conversation. Like, do you know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah,
there's levels,
right,
and
right,
Carolina is a build program.
right. I think that plays a
Like
little bit into it. I agree with. I think that plays a little bit into it. NFL though is so you got to get your money when you can. So I think that
mhm.
that that goes against that a little bit. But yeah, I agree. When people have options and things are equal, right? Carolina's the last pick. I mean,
Yeah,
Green Bay used to be that way too, even though they were winning. I mean, who
yeah.
wants to go live in sub-zero temperatures? But
Good call it. I don't know how you all do that if you live in the
I don't
north.
know how they do
Kudos to you.
that.
Like my body hurts just thinking about
Hey,
that.
well,
So
hey, hey,
kudos to you.
no, if I was to Green Bay, I live up there for a year. I come back, y'all think I'm Michael Jackson. Next thing you know, like, bro, what happened? What happened to your
They'd be
skin?
like,
I said, bro,
haven't seen you outside in a while. It's too damn cold. Have you
it
been
was
out
cold. It was
there? Like,
cold.
wow,
It was cold.
what am I gonna do out there?
I
Like, I'll
know,
just
right?
stay
I'm
inside.
like,
What do you mean you want to go for
yeah,
drinks?
I
Like,
know, right?
it's too damn cold out there. But
Yeah.
I just want to give a shout out though, because I also think the Arizona Cardinals are not like a team or a place where people like really want to go. I think they're building though the right way. I think I said this like 2 or 3 weeks ago, where I was like, do you think they're like a thing, or a pass rusher away? Like, do we think that I think they're doing the right thing. I don't know how the season's going to go. I don't know how they're going to finish. But if you just look at how the Cardinals have slowly kind of built their roster, I think they're doing the thing that I think more teams should do. They signed Kyler before it became too crazy. So if you look at his contract now compared to where other people's contracts are, it's a really good contract for them. And they can kind of get the pieces while he's still under contract. And if he doesn't work, guess what? Next guy. Like, anyways, my point is like there's a model of how to do this the right way. And I just don't think some teams know who they are. I don't think they realize they're not who they think they are.
Well, take a page from Detroit, right? What did
Good
they
one.
do?
Yeah.
When they drafted Penei Sewell, they didn't reach on no quarterback or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
before anybody say they had Jerry Goff, No one in the world believed in Jared Goff.
No one.
So you save that. But
Not
so
even the team that he left that he took to the Super Bowl. Okay.
right.
So
What I'm saying? Exactly. So I
yeah.
think that's a part of it, right? You build the bone, you get the bones and you get the foundation, or you try to build on that. Then they came back the next year, Aiden Hutchinson. So
Brilliant.
yeah, I think that's how you do it.
I think so too. And
This is how you
and
do it.
let's keep it real. Not a lot of people want to go live in Detroit either. Okay.
You're right. So you better draft good. Right.
That's the thing. But the thing I respect about Detroit is they know who they are. And
Yeah.
it's just like, it's so simple in life, right? If you know who you are, it's usually a lot easier because you don't let things bother you and you do what you're supposed to do. So
Right.
shout out to those teams. And while we're here, let's talk a little bit about this college football funness. Because first of all, hello everyone, welcome everyone. Hey Nicole C, I think Jack Boy was calling you his old head.
Oh, is he talking to me again? See, I don't be, he be throwing me off.
He's not talking to me. What do you?
Oh, my bad. I didn't know what's going on. I didn't know
He's
what
gonna
that. What
call me old head.
you know what I'm saying? I mean, Jay White for 12, so I mean, everybody's over here to him.
Yeah, like come on. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and now Lawrence, we're not talking bad about them. We're saying what everybody knows to be true. Everyone's not packing up, rushing to go to Detroit. They're just not. I mean, I don't know what you want me to say. It just is what it is. And let's be real. Before they are what they are now, they were absolutely fucking terrible. So what do you?
Years. No, not just,
terrible.
not just, it just comes years.
Yes. Literally, Barry Sanders was like, no. Calvin Johnson was like, hell no. So, what are you doing? Let's not act like we're talking about like the Patriots. Okay. Like we're talking about the Detroit Lions. Like, come on, bro. Yeah. Anyways. So, but I got it. They're hot right now. I got it. But come on. So the other thing I want to talk about is how right we have been this whole time when it comes to college football and how people are looking at these teams, how they're ranking these teams, and what they have told us is exactly what we have been saying since, I don't know, February.
Yeah.
Isn't it kind of funny? Oh, look, as of right now, if the playoffs happen right now, guess how many teams from the Big 12 are going to be in the playoffs? One. Oh my gosh. If it happened right now, guess how many teams from the ACC would be in the playoffs? One. This is like, hello.
Right.
Like, come back to Earth One, people. Come back to Earth One. Earth One is where the real truth is. Earth One is the factual stuff. Earth One is where the critical thinkers live. I know some of us aren't in Earth One. We're in our own Earth. I can tell by the way people voted, but we're in Earth One where facts matter. And this is what they're telling you. We've been telling you for months. The playoffs are telling you they don't give a shit about the Big 12. They don't give a shit about the competition because they think it's weak. They don't give a damn about the ACC competition either. They think it's weak. They don't care. We've been telling you. We've told you. They're telling you. I know you don't want to listen to us. Listen to the visual. Like all the information you want is here. I don't know what you have to say, Rahai, but I don't know what else to say.
Well, I can say this. And I think the problem with the others is that it's only, I think it's 4 weeks left? Is it 4 weeks left?
4. Mm-hmm.
And when Georgia, for example, I think Georgia and Ole Miss play, right? So if you're sitting back banking on an Ole Miss loss, that becomes a good loss for Georgia and a great win for Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't knock them out. That's the problem. When they beat up on each other up there. I mean, let's be honest about it. I think I've said it for a couple of weeks now. The Big 12 won the 2/3 of the country. I mean, sorry, 2/3 of the conference is the same. But in the SEC, it's also, I think, 1 through 7 in the SEC, it's basically the same.
It's the
So
same.
right, they just swapping out each other, but their same carries respect, and that's why they sit up there. I mean,
It's
Indiana,
a good loss.
right? It's a
It's a
great
good,
loss.
like, yeah, that's
It's,
what,
it's a
like,
great loss.
yeah.
And
When Texas
Indiana,
lost to Georgia, people were like, "Oh, Texas." I'm like, it's fucking Georgia. They
yeah, it didn't
lost what,
matter. It
4
don't
games in the
matter.
past 3 years?
Right.
Who can beat them, actually?
Yeah, yeah. And
So,
Indiana's
anyways.
riding the same cloud. I mean, right, Indiana got, I think it was 102nd strength of schedule,
Hmm.
and they're eighth. Now, granted, they undefeated, but again, with the playoff committee, it ain't about if you're undefeated. It's about how good they think you are. And
Exactly.
they're eight, and I think they're eight because they carrying the Big Ten banner.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So because they ain't played nobody. Just
Nope.
call it what it is, and clearly the committee doesn't like Army.
And so Indiana's last 3 games is Michigan, Ohio State, and Purdue. And here, like, this, I made a video about this. I've said this over and over and over. There's going to be a 9-3, 10-2 SEC problem.
You think so? Hey, do you think a
Yes.
3 loss is going to get in? That's interesting. Well, okay, hold
So
on, hold on, wait, wait.
because here's the issue.
Let me rephrase the
If
question.
Go ahead.
Let me rephrase the question. I'm discounting the championship game loss, so I'm
I
not
am too.
counting that. So if you have it, if you have a third loss and it comes in the championship game, I don't think that counts. So I'm talking about, do you think a 3 loss non-championship playing team can make the playoff?
I do.
Woo.
Well,
Woo.
and because here's the thing. So I think if you backtrack and strip everything away, you look at who the matchup would be and who would make you more money at the end of the day. That's just how it is. So let's who could we use? But the problem is, the funny thing about this is, when you look at this though, who would you take out? If Because if so, let's say SMU loses to Miami in the ACC championship. Let's just say that, right? So that kicks SMU out of that spot. Let's say Alabama doesn't lose anymore, which would mean that LSU is going to get another loss. My point sorry, let's say LSU beats Alabama, right? And so that moves Alabama. Look who's coming in behind them. It's another SEC team. That's how they set this
Yeah.
up. And so I mean, Texas A&M goes and loses to South Carolina, and they're still 14. South Carolina's ranked. But the problem is, like we've been saying, is they think that a South Carolina loss is still a better loss than you losing to some scrub in the Big 12 or some scrub in the ACC. Clemson is 23.
Yeah. I would say I think if SMU makes it to the ACC championship game undefeated, because they're undefeated, right? Aren't they undefeated?
I think so.
Let me
Let
make
me
sure.
look it up.
Let me make sure. Let me make sure. I think if no, they 8-1. Yeah, it's gonna be rough.
Yeah,
Uh
no. It's gonna.
yeah,
I'm
it's gonna
telling
be
you, there's gonna
rough.
be a 9-3, 10-2 SEC problem. Are you going to
That's rough.
include a 10-2 SMU over a 9-3 Bama? Really?
I I
Would you
okay.
include would you do that against a 9-3 Texas A&M? that
I would,
loses to.
I would over a 9-3 Texas A&M.
Okay. What about a 9-3 Ole Miss? And your losses could be Georgia. You see what anytime you have a Georgia loss, let's be honest, it's a good loss. Let's just call it what it is. Like a Georgia loss on your record is nothing. Okay, all of that. Let's use Texas. Would you keep out a 9-3 Texas? And let's say they lose to A&M, or sorry, a 10-2 Texas, and their losses are Georgia and Texas A&M. Are you going to keep out a 2-loss Texas team that loses to Georgia and Texas A&M over? Let's be real. Who? Who?
Well, I'll say this. This is what I will say. I agree. I agree. Kind of what you're talking about. I think. Let me change it. Let me use BYU because they're undefeated. If BYU finished this, I believe if BYU finished the season undefeated, and whoever they play in the championship game, if they get beat, I think BYU makes the playoffs.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I think they make the playoffs. So that would put BYU and the Big 12 champs. So the Big 12 would get 2 at that point. The problem, because BYU's undefeated. The problem is SMU has a loss, and that's what kills them. So,
well, but hold on. So, but who would you have BYU playing?
it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter.
My thing is 10, 11, and 12 are going to be very interesting because the way they've set this up already is 10, 11, and 12. The SEC is knocking on the door. So, and that's the thing, like nobody can afford like an accidental loss. Whereas in the SEC, right, you can afford an accidental loss. It's not accidental, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The other thing I think is interesting is too, I was listening to, I don't remember this SEC. I don't know, but they were talking about the 5 spot, or was it the 5 spot or the 6 spot? And they were basically saying that like, let's say I'm going to use Texas. Obviously, I'm a Texas girl, so it just makes sense that I use Texas. So let's say it's Texas and whoever in the SEC championship game, and Texas loses in the SEC championship game. So we don't get the bye week, and then the next week we have to go on the road and play. Or, well, no, next week we would be at home, but the team that we would be playing would have rested because they weren't in a championship game. So basically, there's a spot on the thing that depending how this all goes, there could be a team that kind of gets screwed. They're a higher seed, but they get screwed because they don't get the rest that somebody else is going to get because they don't have to play in like a championship game. And I just use Texas there because it's an easy example. Anybody could be, in that spot. But I was just thinking, I'm like, there's always like this weird thing where it's like, well, do we want to win this one? Do we want to like, because if we lost, it's actually better versus like if we win. So there's all these like different types of like manipulation things that go in this, that if we're thinking about that, the committee is also thinking about these things.
Yeah, they've already kind of mentioned and talked about how that more than likely a conference championship loss will probably not hurt a team. So because of what you just described, meaning that you'll be having non-champions sitting at home waiting for the playoffs to begin.
Right.
So they're saying they're saying they're probably going to look at it. It can help you, obviously, because you check the box of champion, but it can't hurt you.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, so
I don't understand why BYU's only hope ACC still taking over. I don't understand. The SEC is out of what? I'm not sure.
I think he's just promoting the ACC, I think.
Yeah, but he said BYU is their only hope. Whose hope? BYU is whose hope?
I'm assuming the Big 12.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. Maybe I'm not understanding. I gotta go live on Earth too, man.
You crazy.
All the good stuff happens on Earth.
You are insane. I swear to God, you insane. God. You insane.
Earth too. Things make so much more sense when you're there. Like, if you ever live there, it's just like, oh, right. That makes sense. So anyway, So yeah, anything else you want to get into? I'll let you do your teams first. But yeah, so
Uh,
at the end of the day, my whole point was saying that is I always say that at the end of the day, my whole point is saying that is there's a thing brewing, and I understand that we want to act like it's not a thing, and I understand that we want to act like the SEC doesn't play the best football, and I know we want to act like that's not what the committee sees, and I know we want to act like our best team is actually the best team, and I know we want to act like all this stuff. It is actually not true, and it's okay if you still don't want to believe it. The committee has now spoken, that has told you the thing that we've been telling you is coming for months, but if you still don't want to believe it, it's fine, but doesn't mean it's not true. Come back to Earth One.
yeah,
We welcome you.
I'm happy that everybody's starting to come to my side. Thank y'all, man. Thank y'all coming on, drinking this SEC Kool-Aid. Appreciate it.
I mean, the committee is telling you. The committee is telling you. I get it. I know we don't want to anyways. So who do you have this week? Oh, so a couple of things. Before we start this, so our week this week is on playoff elimination games. So games that we think have the potential to eliminate a team from the playoffs, talk or contention, depending on what happens. I think I might throw in my curveball. I haven't decided yet at the end of this. I already kind of told you what it was, but we'll see how this plays out. We'll see how I feel when I get to my possible. But who do you have first?
Last thing before I jump on a team, I think another thing too that I think we all should look out for. Yeah, if you all remember this, watch how these teams play. The ones that have still opportunities to play for the championship. I like to see, is it better football, cleaner football, more effort? I'm
Bro.
interested to see the type of product they put on the field.
See, here's how we're different. My penny is just outward.
What?
My penny is you all don't know football. You don't watch football, so shut up because you don't know what's going on. Yours is like, just watch the teams and let me know what you think about them because they might not be as good as you think.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. I'll just say it. This is the first time that we have had this many teams. Because let's be honest about it. We're talking about basically 20 teams that's fighting to get into the playoffs. At this time last season, we were talking about 3 or 4 teams.
I like it. That's true.
Yeah, we legitimately talked about, what I'm saying, maybe 20 teams. Not obviously, give or take 1 or 2, but
yeah,
we're legitimately talking about that. So
yeah,
I just think people are gonna be playing like the hair on fire. But I'll get to my team to keep it moving. Oh my God. And since we're talking about college, I'll just stick with college. We're talking about this Colorado Buffaloes and the Texas Tech. I think this is the first time I have ever discussed Colorado Buffaloes on this channel, on this show.
Okay, so here's the thing. Let's be real here. We're very intentional about the things that we talk about over here. And so it is by design that we're like, let's not touch it. Let's not go there. Let's leave them where they're at. I've been like that this whole time too. If you notice, I've stayed away from Steelers. I've stayed away from Texas. I've stayed away from Colorado. But you know what? And we're here.
Yeah, I mean,
here we
well,
are.
I mean, the first thing, I think the first thing about it is that I think this conversation is what college football is all about these days. And the simple fact that I'm mentioning Colorado in the same breath as I'm mentioning some SEC teams is a testament to the success that they have obtained thus far.
Exactly.
Just simple as that, right?
Yep.
So if they didn't win one more game, they have this, right? So, usually we discuss this team, and it's really not anything of substance as far as on the grand scale of
right.
Nationwide, college football.
Well, it's like pricking and what is it? Picking and prodding. Like
Yeah,
very small.
I mean, usually,
it's like,
yeah, right. I mean,
yeah.
it's kind of like how people used to talk about Texas 3 years ago. It's like they're really not relevant to any conversation. They're just a conversation piece.
No, worse, because we were a disgrace. talked worse. We had expectations that we were a disgrace. Okay? We were on first two. Okay?
So look, right now they are relevant in this conversation and playing, and they going to Texas Tech to play, and I think that's
Yep.
a huge game.
Yep.
So, and they're one of those teams. This is a playoff elimination game. Right now I'll just call it. This is the field of 64. So they have to win. They have to beat Texas Tech to get to the playoffs. Not only that, they got to win out to even have an opportunity, because it's going to take them to win the Big 12 championship to have a shot. So I think going into Texas Tech is going to be a hostile environment. The good thing is what Colorado likes to do. Texas Tech is bad at defending it.
So bad.
Yeah, they're the worst in the Big 12. They are absolutely the worst in the Big 12,
They're
right?
So bad. They're so bad.
Yeah. So, so I mean, which is kind of weird that last I checked, they only favor about 3.5 points. Now, I do find that disturbing.
Who's only favored by 3.5 points?
Colorado.
It's because Texas Tech can run the football. And this is like the stylistic thing where it's like, because if you can run the football, right, you slow down the game. And if you run the football and you hold the ball for 7 minutes and you get 7 points, and that next team comes back and throws and gets 7 points, and you hold the football for 7 minutes again and you get 7 points, you change up the dynamics of the game. And I think because Colorado's not great at stopping the run, I think that is the bet that they're making is, this is literally going to be, if Colorado can stop the run, they win the game. If Colorado can't stop the run, they don't run the game. I think it comes down to that, in my opinion. But I just don't. Texas Tech is not a good football team. Okay, they can't tackle. They're not consistent, but they're streaky, and that's what makes this a weird matchup. Because when they're on, they're on. But when they're off, you're going to be looking at them and being like, "What the? What was that? Did the quarterback just throw the ball right to the guy?"
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I think Colorado should win this game fairly easy, but we'll see how it play out. I don't think they hadn't built up enough confidence with me where I can feel comfortable by picking them and not having any reservations about it. So I can't say they're gonna win like I may call a Ole Miss versus Mississippi State game, but
Yeah.
I don't. I think though. I think they should pull it out, because I mean,
Well,
we got to be honest, right? They're a one-dimensional team. Colorado is, right?
Yeah.
And I think I spoke on that before. I think they're fourth. They're the fourth worst rushing team in the country.
It's bad.
Yeah, that's not good.
No, it's not championship football. Just call it what it is. It's not like that. You can win games, but you can't win championships that way. Right, and that's the goal.
Right. And if I would, if we want to, and since we're talking playoffs, and we're thinking that they are a playoff contender, if I compare them to their peers, right, they couldn't even reach the peers with a 10-foot pole, because as far as the differences in complementary football and running the ball, for sure, they're nowhere to be seen. So that's the issue there. But they got 250 cows on their team. They got Travis and Shador. And generally, when you play a lot of teams that's not very good, then they can erase a lot of issues you have on your team.
It's kind of funny too, because it's like that's my issue with Texas is that we can't, like, obviously we're going to try to get our run game because our coach, like, we're going to try to do the things, but we're missing CJ Baxter. I mean, he's out. Like, he's supposed to be our guy, and so we're trying to figure out how to create a run game. We're still trying, but some teams just don't even try. So it's like, what are we doing here? But I agree. I mean, I think that Colorado has a great opportunity to make a statement. I think that they're kind of, I don't want to say they're playing with house money, because everybody on their schedule that's coming up is not good. So you have to really go in there and make a statement. I think the statement win is how much you can beat teams by, because at this point, that's all they have, right? Because like Texas Tech, they're not ranked. Kansas, they're not ranked. Utah's not ranked. And whoever, or Oklahoma State's not ranked. They're playing teams that are combined 14 and 17. 14 and 17. So these teams aren't good. So the only thing you can do is you have to not only win, you have to beat these teams so bad that people are like, oh, all right. Like, because that's what separates you. Is it's not the win, it's how you win and how great your win is. So I agree with you. So good call on that. Anything else you want to say about did somebody say my hair looks wet? What
Yeah, I
is
saw
wrong
that.
with y'all?
I saw that.
What are
Yeah,
you
I saw
talking
that.
about?
I saw that. I did see that.
I don't think the right word is wet. It might be supposed to be wavy. Oh, or you know what? Maybe it's a slang word. So I don't know. Maybe I don't know what's going on. So anyways, I need to get out of the chat. So anyways, kudos to you for mentioning Colorado. They're here, right? This is what they want to do. Now they just have to take care of business. So do you have Colorado winning the game?
Yeah, I got Colorado winning that game. Yeah, and fairly, yeah, they should win it fairly easy, but if they lost it, I wouldn't be surprised either. I mean, there's really no difference between Colorado, Texas Tech, no difference between, what I mean, that ain't no difference in that. So it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking at strength of schedule. Colorado has the 118th strength of schedule.
Oh wow, that's worse than Indiana.
That's worse than Indiana.
Oof. What
Yeah.
about BYU?
BYU has the 104th.
Oh my God. They're gonna, boy, if I, you know what? I'm not even gonna speak it in the air. The Big 12 needs BYU to actually be undefeated.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
who and then there's Iowa State. Iowa State's probably high up there too.
Iowa State, let me see. Iowa State, I can tell you, if my fingers work right.
I didn't realize they were in the 100. In the
Iowa
hundreds.
State is 83rd.
Okay. Oof. I didn't realize they were in the 100s. That's not great.
Yeah.
Yikes.
That tells you.
Yikes. Can you look up Arizona State?
Yeah. Let me look up Arizona State. 74th.
All right. I'm going with it. I'm doing it. Okay. So I wasn't going to do it, but now that I have data, because I live on Earth 1, and when you have data and you use critical thinking on Earth 1, you can come up with different things. I think Arizona State is the sleeper of the Big 12 right now. And from the history of the Big 12 is what I know is usually, I could be wrong, but usually there's a team towards the end of the year, because this happened with Oklahoma State last year. It happened with Kansas State the year before. I can go back and tell you all the history of the Big 12. There's usually a team in the Big 12 that is not on scene, that people are talking about, that nobody cares about, that kind of sneaking their way up, and they're like sneak their way into conversation. And I'm going to say this, and I might regret it later, but I'm all about taking risk. I'm going to bring Arizona State to this conversation. I'm going to bring Arizona State to this conversation for a couple of reasons. A, they have, I think, one of the hardest strength of schedules in the Big 12 based off what you just said. So that's the first thing. They also have played Utah, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State. They've played the teams that everybody thought was going to be good. Okay, so their strength of schedule is high. They have left UCF, Kansas State, BYU, and Arizona. So this week they play UCF. If Arizona State finds a way to keep winning, they could stun the Big 12. only because their strength of schedule, and they're going to knock out the teams that are ahead of them to end up to be able to be in the conversation. Does that make sense? So if Arizona State beats BYU, let's just say, if they beat Kansas State, they remove them. You see what I'm saying? Colorado and Tech, they're going to remove each other. Somebody's going to sliver in there because these teams play each other. So again, today you're listening to me and you're like, she's finally freaking lost it. Like she's finally gone on the deep end and she's finally lost it. The only way it works, though, is if Arizona State wins. Because if Arizona State wins, they're going to be Kansas State. Okay, so that's going to knock them. If Arizona and then obviously Texas Tech and Colorado are going to play, so that's going to knock out somebody. So now there's one other thing left. So then they get to play BYU. And if they start winning by their strength of schedule, they're going to have more to say than another team would with a looser strength of schedule, because that's how this goes. That's how it goes. They've only lost 2 conference games. They're 6-2. So it's a long shot. It's a long shot. But if Arizona State starts winning and they don't lose, and Arizona State ends this at 10-2, which is crazy as hell, right? It's crazy as hell that I'm even saying this. But think about what I'm saying here. That gives them a chance because they have a tougher strength of schedule. The other thing that's even a little bit crazier is if Iowa State manages to lose again, or if one of these other teams loses again, it only is going to keep moving up Arizona State if they continue to win. So my crazy ass random prediction that nobody will ever see coming, that I'll sound crazy if it doesn't happen, but I'll sound like a genius if it happens, is Arizona State making a weird run at this. And you said they were going to be better than Arizona, so you weren't wrong. You weren't wrong. So it also speaks to that narrative. Tate, he actually said Arizona State was going to be better than Arizona. So what he called is actually correct. And what he's saying is actually going to fit into the narrative if Arizona State can keep winning. I'm just saying. Saying.
Arizona State a good coach.
What are these people saying? Statistically, Iowa State could be the best team in the Big Ten. Texas Tech.
He said he made a mistake. I think he made a mistake.
Oh, okay. I'm like, you guys, come on, let's get focused. Let's get focused.
Now let me clarify some things here. I messed up. The numbers and every point you made is right, but I think what I was looking at was the combined, but I found something that's split like already and what they're doing. You're still right in everything you're saying. They just a tad bit higher.
Yeah.
Okay. So
they're asking where you want to share your screen with the strength of schedule? You don't have to. Okay.
Yeah, it's on. You can go college bound. You just go to ESPN, bro. It's on there, bro.
Yeah. And that's what I want us to all, and I've been saying this whole time. Here, we have to put things into context. If I'm sitting here and I'm going to tell you my thoughts on the best thing that can happen for the Colorado Buffaloes football team, it is this. You want BYU to not lose a single game. You want BYU to go into the Big 12 conference game undefeated. That's what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing you want is
Mm-hmm.
you want Colorado to win out,
Mm-hmm.
and you want Colorado to find a way into that Big 12 game, into that Big 12 championship game by way of Iowa State losing another game. Okay, because this hypes up your conference. So then what you want is BYU and Colorado in that championship game and the Big 12 championship game, and you want Colorado to beat BYU in that game. That's it. If Colorado fans, if you're listening to me, you want BYU to continue to win. Do not cheer for BYU to lose. Cheer for them to continue to win because they are giving you credence on this playoff thing with the people, right? Let them be there. And then you want Colorado in there, and then you want Colorado to beat BYU because that will validate everything you're trying to do. But they cannot lose. You do not want BYU to lose. You want BYU to win out. No losses.
Right. Yeah, it would be. That would be a better victory. That is true. That would be a much better victory.
Let them win. Yeah. So cheer for BYU to win every single game and cheer for Iowa State to lose and obviously Colorado to win. That's what you want. You don't want any other scenario because it's going to get tricky. And I'm telling you, you don't want to be up against a 10-2 SEC team.
No. No.
That ain't it. That's not where you want to be.
No. No. They got to win out. Yeah.
That's like trusting the Electoral College. Oh, sorry. So
what are we doing? What are we doing? Oh.
Sometimes I just can't help myself.
Oh my God. Here we go.
This is so fun for me. Okay. So it is. So yes. So I'll say it one more time, and then Rawhide, you got the next game, unless you want to say something.
Wait, did you pick your game?
Yes, I picked Arizona State and UCF.
I thought you just talked about that thing. I just thought you were talking about that. What's up?
I'm going with it because I think there's going to be a sleeper. I think there's going to be a Big 12 sleeper. Just like I said, 49ers ain't shit. Just like I said, the Texans ain't shit. The same way I'm saying. I think there's going to be some slithering happening in the Big 12. But Colorado fans, cheer for BYU. We are BYU fans. They need a win. Blow these teams out. Kick their butts.
Yeah. It's interesting, though. I thought Arizona State would have been a good team. I would have been better last season if they didn't lose half their team to injury. But I got to commend the head coach, bro. That head coach, I think they got a good one.
Yeah,
I don't think he's going to be there. I don't think he's going to be there very long. But that's neither here nor there. I'll get to my team. Might as well go ahead and jump into it. Obviously, it's the Bengals at the Ravens. Yeah, we jumped to the NFL. Obviously, it's the Bengals at the Ravens. They overtime game, first time they play in Cincinnati. Cincinnati is currently, what are they? Oh my God, I had it in the top of my head. I need to start writing this down. I am not really flawed, and I am not that thorough. The Bengals are 4-5. We got, what's that? 6 games. That's 7, 8 games left. You got 8 games left, 4-5. If they drop this one tonight, the Bengals, you got 7 games left, 4-5, and I think it's going to take 10 wins to get to the playoffs. So at that point, you got to run off 6 out of 7. I don't know if playing under those margins is I don't think they can do that. Thus, I think this is a playoff game for the Bengals. This is the wild card game. They have to win this game. I mean, hell, even if they won it, I mean, what we banking on now? What's that? 5 out of 7? I mean, even that's tough.
Yeah. So who do you think is going to win this game?
Oh, the Ravens. I got the Ravens to win it because the Ravens going to make the playoffs, but you don't want to go creeping into the playoffs. I mean, that'd be 4 losses for the Ravens. That'd be 6-4. That'd be 4 losses for the Ravens. You don't want to be a 4 loss. You don't want to be a 4 or 5 loss team going into the playoffs. You could be 6 because you still got a few games left. So, and honestly, if I was the Ravens, I think the perfect scenario for the Ravens is this. The Bengals get in at a 6 seed. Ravens get in as a 2 seed. I think the two plays a 7. How many? It's 7, right? The two plays
Hmm.
a 7. So that eliminates them from having to play the Bengals, and it forces the Bengals, if the Bengals win, to play the Chiefs coming off a bye.
Because then they'll be the highest seed.
Right. Well, they'll be the lowest
And they'll
seed
play
playing.
the right.
Play,
That's what I
yeah,
mean.
yeah.
Yeah.
They'll end up having to play
The first
Kansas
team.
City. I think that's the best way for the Ravens. The Ravens need to maneuver it where if the Bengals can make it to the playoffs, the Bengals will have to play Kansas City. That's what they want.
So I think the history of this game, I think the Bengals usually win.
Against the Ravens?
I think.
I think the Bengals only beat Lamar once.
Okay, so it's the opposite.
Yeah.
Because I remember last game they should have won, and then obviously Joe Burrow was like, "Oh, what if I throw the ball to the Ravens? What can he catch it?"
Right.
Okay,
Right.
so this, obviously this is my division, so it's always interesting when these teams when we all play each other because I never know who to cheer for, and you naturally cheer for the team who has the higher record because it usually is obviously better for you, right? If the team that's closest to you loses, then it makes it easier for you or whatever. And we haven't played any AFC North teams, so there's all these things. And I hear what you're saying. I think I don't even know where to fall. Every hour I'm like, let's go Lamar, woo! And then the other hour I'm like, let Lamar get 400 yards and let's go Bengals. So I go back and forth because I could see this being, to be honest, let's be real. I want both of them to lose. That'd be fantastic. If this could end in a tie, that would be amazing. Because it neutralizes everything. But I think if I had to pick, I think I would want the Bengals to actually win. I just don't know if they can. But then the great news is if the Ravens beat the Bengals, then that gives the Bengals another loss, which is great. So it's like, yeah.
As a Steelers fan, right? As a Steelers fan, I would think you want the Bengals to lose.
Well, no, because it's usually us and the Ravens. Usually, let me say this: more times than not, it's us and the Ravens. And so anytime you can get a loss against anytime anybody beats the Ravens, it's great because it's usually us. So, I mean,
well, I'm just talking about from a playoff perspective, unless you think they're going to win the division. If you think the Steelers are going to win the division, okay, I get it. But if you think they're going to be a wild card, then I would think you want the Bengals to lose.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why the good thing is somebody's going to lose. And then once they lose, I get to figure out what that means. And to be honest, what is this, week 10, week whatever? So the good thing is like, I don't kind of have to make that decision yet because, maybe I'll be looking back in week 15 and I'll be like, man, so you only could have won that one game. I will say though, the more I think about this, I actually think I want Cincinnati to win because that would give the Ravens 2 losses in the division because they lost to the Browns. And that would actually be.
You think Pittsburgh gonna keep winning like they're winning?
Well, no, but I'm just it wouldn't matter if they split because our strength of schedule is harder than these teams. So let's say we all finish 3-3 in the division. We would have the tiebreaker of strength of schedule. But if the Ravens are 4-2 in the division and we are 3-3 in the division, obviously we don't stand a chance. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm playing for the tiebreakers.
Oh, okay. I see.
You see what I'm saying? Because if the Ravens are 3-3 and we're 3-3 in the division by strength of schedule by NFL, we will get the division. They won't. So do I think we're going to keep winning like this? Absolutely not. Like the hardest part of our schedule is coming. But we all know that these division games are the games that matter. And you want your team, you want your opposing teams to have more division losses than anything.
I get it. Ain't nothing wrong being a fan.
Yeah.
I get it. I understand fandom. I ain't nothing wrong with fandom.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah. Hello. Well, if you want me to place my money on this, now that's a different conversation. But if you're going to ask me, like, as a fan, what I want, that's the answer. You know what I'm saying?
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
So yeah.
Promise.
I mean, and to be honest, too, that loss to the Browns might end up being more of a factor than anything. Because why would they do that? What were they doing? What was that?
Right.
No,
I got you.
So anyways,
to clarify, I was wrong. He's 9-2, so he's lost 2 games
to the Bengals.
Yeah, in 2018 and then 2021.
Got it. Yeah, it's one of those games. Like I said, I'll be watching and hoping they go into a tie. I'll be like, oh darn, rats. That sucks for them. Darn. I really hate that they couldn't decide who was going to win that game. So, and yes, my fandom is talking, and I would like my fandom to continue to talk.
I'm tickled. I think we just pick on one team. We pick on everybody.
No. And that's what I always tell people, like, if you want me to fan out on any team and any organization, it is always going to be my Steelers. Like, the Steelers are going to win 9 times out of 10. I will fan out over the Steelers before I fan out over any other team.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I will throw all caution to the wind. What do you mean we don't have a quarterback? Who cares? What do you mean we suck? Who cares? Like, the Steelers.
You and Truckett.
Yeah, like that's my squad. Like that's my like, if you can talk bad about whoever you want. Leave my Steelers out of the conversation. It's like your family, right? You talk trash about them and you're like, but you can't talk trash about them.
Right, exactly.
Don't. Leave them alone. Exactly. So anyway, so yeah, I hear what you're saying. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But for anybody listening to this, okay, if you're a Steelers fan, yeah, it gets a little murky when it comes to, and it always does. It always does. The only team that everybody knows that we never want to win is the Browns, and it's so funny how we all can collectively feel that way. So one team that we're all like, like whatever. It's probably because their name is the Browns, and this country doesn't like people of color. Anyway, so my second game that I am going to pick is going to be.
Why are you laughing? What are you doing?
The second game I'm gonna pick is the Jets and the Cardinals.
The Jets and the
Cardinals. Oh God. Okay. You at least have to admit that was funny. It was at least funny. Okay. It was at least funny.
It was.
So I'm picking the Jets and the Cardinals for a couple of reasons. I believe if the Jets lose this game, I believe they probably are out of the playoffs. Because, first of all, because they're not very good. But also, let me get their record. I thought I had it written down. I don't have it written down.
3-6.
They are 3-6. The Jets are, which is not great. But the problem is that the Bills are 7-2. So there's a lot of separation. And obviously the Patriots are terrible. The Dolphins are just as bad. And the Jets are second place at 3-6. But if you lose another game, I don't think that the Jets can make up the ground that the Bills have already placed. And I also think you will then be 3-7 because you will have another loss. And I don't see them being able to be in the playoffs when I think it's going to take at least 10 wins. And it's going to be really hard for the Jets to make up that difference if they lose this game against the Cardinals. So that's the thought on the Jet side. On the Cardinals side, they're kind of in an interesting predicament because their division is interesting. They're leading their division. I've said week 2 that I kind of like what the Cardinals are doing. They do need a pass rusher. They're not the best, but they find ways to win games. And I'm a fan of that. If you can find a way to win a football game, like I like that. So yeah, I have the Jets and the Cardinals because I think if the Jets lose this game, I think that's it. I think they're done.
Yeah,
So
I agree with you on that. I totally agree. As a matter of fact, I kind of feel like they're already done. As far and what I mean, not by whether they have the ability to get to the playoffs. I think
yeah.
their team has quit.
Oh yeah. Well, and the thing is too is like if you look at the AFC, obviously the Bills will win their division. Cool. But you have the Chargers, so just other teams. Obviously the Chiefs will win their division. Cool. But the Chargers are 5-3. The Broncos are a surprising 5-4. So, and
That
then
is
obviously you have the
surprising.
AFC, then you have the AFC North. So you have a 6-2, 6-3, 4-5, the 4-5 being the Bengals. And then the Colts are 4-5, but the Texans are 6-3. So my point is like if you have the 4 division winners and then you look at the next 3 teams, they can't afford another loss. I don't see how they make up all of that ground if they lose again.
No, I agree with you
So
wholeheartedly. I agree with you wholeheartedly. The Jets, such a disappointment. Don't know why Devontae Devontae Adams must really love
Aaron
Aaron
Rodgers.
Rodgers. I mean, to ask to be traded over there and to go there, and you know this is probably maybe Aaron's last year. And if anybody has watched the Jets, and I'm not gonna sit here and act like I've watched every game because I haven't, but the 1 or 2 games that I did watch, he's old.
It's
He's
not
old.
good. No, it's not good.
You know,
He look
one thing is he's like a boxer. One thing about a boxer, he always had a strength to punch, but he can't move. Aaron can't move, man. He's old, man, and I see it. I see it in his play.
I
It's
agree.
just, yeah,
He's just not good.
no.
Like yeah, he's just not good. He's aging, he's not good.
Hmm.
It is what it is. So does Arizona have a decent defense? Absolutely not. Their defense is ranked like 23 or 25 or something like that. But the issue is I think the teams in their division aren't much better.
Yeah.
So it's kind of relative because if you're 24 and everybody else around you is pretty close, like it's a wash.
Right.
And I will say this. I think the Arizona Cardinals might have the best quarterback in that division. I mean, you can say Matthew Stafford, but oh, I don't know. He doesn't do it for me. Geno Smith, he's not really doing much
No,
for me either.
honestly, I agree with you though. I ain't even gonna lie. I agree with you. I agree with you. I'm
You
messing
know what I'm
around.
saying? So like,
I agree with you.
and
Oh,
this is, but
I
again,
do.
like this
I
is
do.
one of those like emotionally intelligent conversations where I can say, just because Kyler Murray might be the best quarterback in that division, and I'll give you a might, that doesn't mean he's top 10. It just means in that division, like they're not, the division is just a mess. Let's just like, I don't know. So, so that's my thing. I think Arizona is in a good spot, and I think they have a great opportunity here to basically put the Jets out of their misery so that we can all move on and let them die and let them ride off into the sunset. But it is the NFL, and so that means the Jets are going to come out and blow out Arizona. So that's how this is probably
Probably.
going to go.
That's probably exactly what's gonna happen. That's
Yeah.
probably exactly what's gonna
So
happen.
you know how this goes. Would Cam Ward be the pick for the Jets? So the problem is I don't know if I don't know how that's going to turn out yet. There's still too much football to be played to figure out who's going to be like top 10 or whatever. Because although the Jets are very bad, there's worse. There's
You
worse.
think so?
The Giants are bad. I think the Saints are bad. I think the Carolina Panthers are bad. I think the Dolphins are bad. The Patriots are bad. Who am I missing?
Uh,
The
uh,
Jaguars are bad. The
yeah,
Raiders are bad. The Titans are bad.
yeah. No, you're right. No. You're right. I mean,
Yeah, so what is that?
you
8? I mean,
you're right. You are right. Ah,
So
yeah.
anyways, that's where I'm at. And then so wait, it's the Saints, Panthers. Who else is in that division? Oh, Tampa Bay and Atlanta and the Falcons. Okay, cool. I'll leave them where they're at. Whatever. But yeah, so I mean that's 8 teams that I could just think of off the top of my head that I just don't think are good at all. I mean, hell, the Dallas Cowboys are also bad. So I mean there's almost more bad teams than there are really good teams.
Right.
So
I was sitting here thinking, not to change the subject or anything, but I was just sitting here thinking. No, my bad. I apologize. I'll go to my last team.
oh God, the Browns. I forgot about the Browns are bad.
They're terrible.
Yeah.
They're
So
past bad.
what is
They're
that?
like past
So
bad.
that's 10. That's 10 teams.
Yeah.
So
they're
if you're
past bad.
asking me who's gonna be, I don't know because there's so many teams that are so bad.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But no, tell me what was the thought?
Yeah. No. I'll pass on it.
What is it?
I'll just. Well, when you were going through those teams, I was thinking, and I'm thinking about the Atlanta Falcons at leading the division right now. And I'm like, hey, appreciate it, man. Welcome to the family. Oh, I'm watching them, and I'm like, couldn't they use a first round draft pick right now to help solidify that team wherever? But they absolutely wasted it on a player that's not seeing the field.
The Falcons?
Yeah.
Yeah, terrible. It's terrible.
I mean, as a Falcons
terrible.
fan, how do you sit here and watch your team play well? And we gotta give Kirk Cousins credit. He's playing well. And think if they could have used, what was he, ninth? He was picked ninth.
Eighth? Was he eighth or ninth?
Eighth. He's picked eighth. What would an eighth pick in the first round do for the Atlanta Falcons right now? That would actually hit the field.
Yeah.
Somebody should fire that GM.
I can tell. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
If your season was bad,
I took a flyer on them in the offseason, and I was like, they're going to win their division because they have the most assets, right? Like they have the most money, they have the highest draft picks, and they can go get a quarterback, and then they can draft high. And I had all of these things that I was like, this is why the Falcons are going to be good this year. Spoiler alert, they still probably will win the division, but all the things that I praised them for, they went out and did the exact opposite. So I don't know. So I don't know. I mean, their defense is ranked around 20. I don't know. You could have went and got a pass rusher. I don't know. Just saying. You could have went and got any freaking body in the draft. And yet you went and got a quarterback that is not on the field. I do not understand that.
I don't think they thought they were going to be good.
That's even worse.
I believe that. I don't think they thought they were going to be good.
Well, you know what they say, like when you're used to being a loser, you don't know how to win.
Right.
The
I
pick
thought
was stupid. It was stupid.
I think they felt like, we may get squeezed something out of this, but more than likely, we're probably not going to be that good. Kirk Cousins coming off an injury, so we could go ahead and draft for the future. And then they done messed up, and they 6-3. 6-3.
Okay. I don't know anything about, just assume I don't know anything about anything. Why did they even talk about taking a quarterback? Like you had just signed a guy for, what is he getting? Like $120 million for like 3 years?
Yeah, something.
So you had just gotten a guy. You literally had just gotten him. You just signed him. Why are you even scouting a quarterback?
I don't know. I'm telling you what I think they thought. They thought they weren't going to be good.
That was a big miss.
Because that pick is not helping you at all.
At all. He's literally on the bench.
on the bench. Hey, he don't help it. Listen, if he had been a pass rusher and he just turned out to be sorry, fine. At least you played. At
least you tried it.
And we saw you did. Right. If you was offensive lineman, right, and you can't block, at least you got out there and played. They picked a dude that offers nothing.
He's doing nothing.
At 8,
Nope.
not at 20,
Mhm.
not at 23, not at 30.
It's terrible.
8. That's crazy. That's
No,
insane.
can I tell you what else is crazier? So you signed, how long is the Kirk Cousins deal? Is it 3 years? 4 years?
I don't know I don't know off the top of my head. Probably I can look and find out.
So this is what's crazier. So you get this guy in, okay? So now he's here. So he's your quarterback. He's going to be your quarterback next year too, right? Because he's the veteran, right? So you're wasting. So you don't even know what your 8th pick can do because you have signed this guy to 3 years.
4 for 180. Now, granted,
So you
100 million
his
guaranteed.
4th year is probably the option. But my
Right.
point is so you're gonna have this guy that you got in the 8th round for 3 years. That if Kirk Cousins doesn't get hurt, he's never gonna see the field. And because you got him in the 1st round in the top 10, you have to pay him top money, but you can't evaluate him because you paid a guy $100+ million. So now let me tell you something. Spoiler alert in 3 years when he gets to be the starter, guess what? He's going to suck. You want to know why? Because he will not have played for 3 years. He's going to be bad. Like, what do you want him to do? He's going to suck. He's actually going to be bad. It's going to struggle at first. He's going to struggle reading defenses. He's going to struggle with the speed of the game. Right? Like, am I crazy? This is just
No,
why are you even talking about taking a quarterback? I knew they were going to take a defender. I knew it.
But hold on, really? This is the biggest problem, though. This is the biggest problem. Let's just say Kurt only plays 2 years, right? Because the way he's playing now, he's going to play next year for sure. You just lost. This is the most valuable thing in the NFL. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to those who's listening to me right now. This thing is the most valuable thing in the NFL. A rookie quarterback contract. They threw it away.
They did.
They threw it away. I just don't get it. They threw it away. There is nothing more valuable than that.
And this is why I tell people too that just because somebody has the job doesn't mean they're good at the job.
I just don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah, his golden era for you to win, you're wasting it.
It's crazy. That's insane.
Are you fucking dumb?
Yes,
you're wasting
they are
it.
dumb.
Yeah,
they are dumb.
The only thing they could do now is trade him away and hope they can get a second because he's literally just sitting there. He's sitting there. It's crazy as hell. It's honestly, I don't know what the dumbest thing I've seen this year. Like the Chicago Bears is also another special snowflake of a dumpster fire with their play calling, and I will never forgive them for handing the ball to the offensive lineman for him to run it up, like whatever. This Falcons pick could come back to bite them for the next whatever, because they wasted it.
Mm-hmm.
I have never in my life, I don't know. Guys.
I don't know who the GM was. The GM should be terminated for that move. But I mean, it is what it is. But he should be fired. Yeah. And I think he's a black guy, and I hate that because it ain't very many.
The GM is a black guy. Do you not remember the video of him and Arthur? What is the guy's name?
Arthur Blank.
Yeah, Arthur Blank's like during the draft, and he's kind of like, and they're doing all these hand gestures and having a conversation. Like, bro, what?
Yeah. The brother, hey brother,
and
I don't know.
He's just there wasting. He's just there wasting.
I'm hoping that the owner told him to do that because, bro, you making us look bad, bro. You shouldn't have done that, bro. You shouldn't have done that. Yeah. You shouldn't have done it, man.
Do y'all think he ends up like Trey Lance? He's already Trey Lance.
Yeah, kind of.
He's already Trey Lance. He's their draft capital. He was number 8.
Yeah, they missed that one up.
The thing about all of this too is like he's not even getting this experience. My biggest thing is that then when you have to pay him, you actually have to pay him because you picked him 8th. You don't get to not pay him because he hasn't played. Like,
I don't get it. I don't get the move.
Yeah, I don't either.
Like I said, the only thing I think they didn't think they were going to be good, and they didn't trust Kirk Cousins. But yet you gave him $100 million guaranteed contract. I don't get it. But anyway, neither here nor there. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go too long on that.
That still triggers me to this day. I'm still like, what are y'all doing? Go ahead. Who you got?
I guess I'll go ahead and stay in the NFL. I was 49ers and Bucks. Did you? I didn't steal that from you, did I? Okay. Yeah, 49ers and Bucks. I think the 49ers, they're currently sitting at 4-4. Bucks. It's unfortunate for the Bucks. I mean, they lost both their wide receivers, so it's unfortunate, right? They last game they played, they was playing with house money, so now they may have just eliminated themselves. Come on, Tampa Bay. What's the head coach name? What's his name?
The black guy.
God dog it. I had it on the tip of my tongue. The reason why I shouldn't even. But bro,
what is his?
Sometimes he does some things to just make me scratch my head. I'm just like, he knew he should have. He
does dumb shit.
Yeah, and I hate that because he's a good coach. He is a good coach.
Todd Boyles.
Todd Boyles. That's it. Yeah, he's a good coach, and I hate that he did that. And he did something last season, something similar. No, it was this season about when he left old boy in the game. They questioned him about that. No, but I think he did something last season too.
Yeah,
and then let me tell you, the problem I got is though.
Oh, we still talking about two brother coaches, guys.
I know, man. I hate that because I like Todd Boyles. Don't think I don't. I do like Todd Boyles.
No, I know. I get what you're saying though. It's like, but just don't do stupid stuff.
Yeah, bro. I'm like, come on, bro. Yeah. And I'm like, in the post game, I'm not gonna talk about that.
The post game was brutal. I'm gonna be honest. The post game, I was like, this is why we can't be. Great.
That's just him who he is, though.
I know, but it don't. I couldn't. Yeah. It was like an Anthony Richardson moment where I was like, no.
Yeah, he doesn't have a he doesn't have a good look for questionable things in the post game. I'll put it to you that way. And it's because of his energy. His energy, like Mike Tomlin, even if he do something crazy, hey, Mike Tomlin, he be up there on the stand like, I wish you would. I wish you would ask me that. So he come off like that, and I'm like, all right, yeah, you good, coach, you good, coach. Todd Bowles be sitting there like, I'm just like, Todd Bowles be like, he looks like this. Yeah, I did it again. Yeah, I'm like, bro,
and you're like, can you shoulders back,
bro.
Head up?
Yeah, like, bro. Like, yeah, bro. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
it does. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I watched and I was like, this is why we cannot. Like, what are you doing?
Oh my God, man.
And the thing is, too, is like, so you knew it was done, bro. What did you?
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like how to be. And then how he looks, I get defensive for him. Now I'm like, y'all heard what he said. Let it go. Keep it moving. I'm like,
he's dead. It's like that thing, right? You know he's wrong, but you're gonna defend him outwardly, and then later you're gonna be like, bro, please don't ever do that again. Don't talk like that. Don't look like that. Pick your head up.
Like, bro, I'm locked up, right, bro? We locked up because I had to fight for you, bro. I ain't like when I'm talking to you, bro. I'm like, what's up, man?
Stop being stupid. Oh my God, it's true though. It's true. I'm telling you, I watched and I was like, no way. Did he just act like it was that big of a deal?
He be looking for a lifeline, and I be like, bro, y'all get up off him, bro. Y'all get off my boy, get off. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe it's me. But that's my problem.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
That's not you all's problem. That's my problem. That's not even Todd Bowles' problem. That's all me. That's my fault.
No. It is a Todd Boyles. It's his problem. Like what?
Oh,
Like here's the thing, and I always say this about the Steelers, right? I'm like, one thing about Steelers, we're gonna fight. One thing about Mike Tomlin, he's gonna have a fuck around and find out face because that's just how he is, right? He's gonna show up. He doesn't care how the game went. He's gonna show up the same, and he's gonna sit there and he's gonna look like this and say, who? Yeah, we sucked. Who's right? He's just gonna keep it moving. Keep it. Todd Boyles is like,
yeah,
y'all,
no,
y'all saw that? Yeah. Wasn't great, was it? Yeah. I'm
yeah,
like, bro.
yeah, I
So
know,
anyways,
man. I know,
oh
I know,
gosh.
man. I know.
So I don't know. I just can't. So oh golly. So are you saying that you don't think the 49ers can afford a loss?
Uh, well, what I think is that I think they're walking on thin ice. It's eerily similar to the Browns. Now they're in a little bit better situation, and their running back is coming back this week. I hear he's
Yeah.
not going to be a full go, but he may get some reps. So, but the big thing is that the thought and the idea of San Francisco not making the playoffs, I think that is a huge deal
Mm-hmm.
because I think most people had San Francisco in their Super Bowl
Oh, in the Super Bowl? Really?
at the beginning of the season.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of people had San Francisco, or they split it with maybe Detroit.
You could be right. I'm gonna be honest. I don't really, like I like to kind of stay a couple of weeks. I feel like the Super Bowl is like so far. That'd be like you asked me like who I think is gonna play in like the college football championship. I don't know. I'm like, let me get to the first big thing first. Like, let me get to the playoffs and then see who's it's gonna be. I don't know. I raised the alarm bells 2 weeks ago for the
Mm.
49ers. Just like I raised the alarm bell, I think the same day for the Texans. So I'm just gonna leave that where it's at and mind my business because I just whatever. So I don't know what else to say. Like everyone thinks I'm crazy. I'm like, all right, y'all keep riding with these losers. So I'm gonna pick the game I think you were gonna pick before you did your 49ers pick. I'm gonna go Alabama LSU. And it's obvious because they are going to fit my 10-2, 9-3 narrative that I'm trying to promote. Because I think worst case scenario here would probably be if LSU wins because they're ranked higher than Alabama. And if they win, then I think they're going to throw things off. I think if Alabama wins, everything kind of stays where it's at as status quo. But I think that bumps LSU because that will give them 3 losses. So it's like this weird, wonky thing.
Yeah.
And that loss to USC week 1 looks really bad for LSU right now. Like losing on the road to Texas A&M, we'll forgive you, right? It was like whatever, cool. But that loss to USC at the beginning of the year, it's showing up here. And why I tell people, when your team loses to a team, you want that team to continue to win. Go win. And so I tell people with Colorado, I'm like, you want Nebraska to figure this out and start winning games. Do not cheer for Nebraska to lose. Cheer for Nebraska to win. It helps you. I'm cheering for Georgia to win games because of that. If Georgia continues to win, it makes that Texas win or that Texas loss look so much better because nobody else can beat them either. So it's like, yeah. So the LSU Alabama game, I think is interesting. I think if LSU wins, I think it gets more interesting. I think if Alabama wins, I think it's a little bit more of status quo. That's my thoughts. And it gives Alabama a top 25 win, which obviously helps make their case.
Yeah, and they had Georgia on they got the Georgia win too.
And they have the Georgia win. And yeah, their losses look bad, but they have the Georgia win and nobody else has beaten Georgia. So like when you start playing semantics, and again, do you kick out a 10-2 team, a 10-2 Alabama that has beaten Georgia if Georgia only has 1 loss to Bama? What do you do?
Right. Yeah, I think they make it. I think the winner of this game, if they win out, they're in the playoffs. I think if LSU wins, I think what they'll do is swap LSU, Alabama. They'll just swap them, and
Okay.
LSU, they went out. They're in the playoffs. Uh, I think it's elimination. Honestly, I think it's an elimination game for both teams.
I think it is too.
Yeah.
Well,
So yeah.
I think it is too if all the other teams and other conferences do what they're supposed to do.
Right, do it, and that's what I mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I mean.
So
Yeah,
Alabama has, obviously after LSU, they have Mercer, Oklahoma, Auburn. They should beat those teams.
Mm-hmm. Right. And
LSU
got Bama, Florida, Vanderbilt, and OU. So they still got some names. Vanderbilt is a good game now, so they still got some names, but they still should win those games.
Yeah.
But I just think.
Yeah, I think this game is the game.
Right. And generally, and for those that's listening to us, if we say this team should make it right here, we're assuming nothing catastrophic happens. Like Georgia don't lose 2 in a row. You know,
yeah.
You know, right.
And again, like worst case scenario for everybody listening to us, actually, is Georgia losing 2 games because do you keep out a 9-3 Georgia? What do you do? Let's look at Georgia's schedule. Hold on, because this is where it gets interesting.
Ole Miss, Tennessee, UMass, Georgia Tech.
Okay, so let's say Georgia loses. Let's make this up. Let's say Georgia loses to Ole Miss and loses to Tennessee, and they are 9-3. But their losses came from teams that are in the top 20. Yeah. What do you do? Do you keep Georgia?
I think.
Okay, let's not even argue the 9-3 Georgia. You damn sure can't kick out a 10-2 Georgia.
Oh no, they won't. No. 2 no. 10
but the problem is think about what we're saying here. Okay, so a 10-2 Georgia, but then if Ole Miss beats them, they're going to be 10-2. Mm-hmm. So, and Ole Miss right now is not in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So if Ole Miss does this and they beat Georgia, who you like?
Yeah. Yeah.
Here we go.
I think you kick out a 10-2 Georgia. I mean 10-3. I mean 9-3 Georgia. This is why. Because they lost back to back on the backside of the season.
But Tennessee is 7th right now.
I get it, but it's on the backside.
Could be.
It's hard. It's hard to recover on the backside.
That's fair. Yeah. No, and I think so. What you're saying is 9-3 Georgia out, 10-2 Georgia in.
Oh yeah, I don't even think that's a question though. I think a 2-loss SEC team is not a question, unless it's 10 of them.
Yeah, because that's what I'm. So okay, if what we're saying happens, if Ole Miss beats Georgia and Ole Miss doesn't lose anymore, they will be 10-2. Mm-hmm. If Georgia loses this game to Ole Miss and doesn't lose anymore, they will be 10-2. Mm-hmm. If Alabama beats LSU and doesn't lose anymore, they will be 10-2. Mm-hmm. Let's just give Texas a loss at whoever, right? They're 10-2. Let's just whatever. Let's make them 10-2. But if that loss is to A&M, then A&M is 10-2. So that's 4, and I'm not even looking at Tennessee. How many losses does Tennessee have?
They just got 1. So they got one more.
So then let's leave them. Let's just leave them. Oh no, because then Georgia would come in and beat them. Yeah, because Georgia would have to be 10-2. So that's 5 SEC teams that are all 10-2. Mm-hmm. Who do you kick out?
Now one of them. All of them get in. Every one of them get in. Every single one of those teams get in.
So that's what I'm saying. Like this is, I mean.
Yeah, I'm serious. I think every one of those teams get in.
You think, okay, because it could happen. Because like I said, if Ole Miss, again, we're reaching here, but just if Ole Miss beats Georgia doesn't lose again, they're going to be 10-2. Because they're going to beat Tennessee because they can't lose again, They will be 10-2. So that's Georgia. And then Tennessee will be 10-2 because of the loss to Georgia. Let's give Texas a loss, whatever. Let's give Texas the A&M loss. So that makes them 10-2. And then that makes A&M 10-2 because they lost to Texas. So that's 5.
Yeah. Yeah. That's,
And then you
yeah.
have, And then you have Ole Miss setting at 9-3. That's not going to get in. Oh, shit. We forgot about Alabama. That would be 6.
Yep. 6 can't get in.
So who do you kick out? It would probably be, it would come down to their losses. Then you would have to kick out
I'd probably kick
Tennessee.
But they beat Texas, though.
You would have to kick out Tennessee because Tennessee lost to Arkansas. And that will be the worst loss out of all of them.
Well, A&M got donkey stomped by South Carolina.
Yeah, but they will have beat Texas. Tennessee will not have beaten anybody.
Well, in that scenario, Tennessee beats. Tennessee has beaten Alabama. They beat. Well, they're not that at that point. So they got the Alabama victory.
Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, maybe I don't know. But my point is, again, that's 6 teams. So figure it out, guys.
Yeah, you have to figure it out. Yeah, one of them they'll have to kick.
Somebody's got to go. Who's the low man on the totem pole between Tennessee, Texas A&M, Texas, Georgia, Alabama, and I just did this whole scenario and then I forgot the other person. Is it Tennessee? Anyways,
yeah,
that'd be crazy as hell. But it's college football, so anything can happen.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
You're
right.
I
don't know. So, but that's why I always say, like, I can't even pick anything right now because there's so many things that can still happen that it sounds good to be like, oh yeah, it's this team. And then you're like, oh, they lost their quarterback and they just lost. Oh, are they out? Is he out forever? Is he coming back?
Yeah.
So,
right.
Anyways, and then I don't want to see any 3 lost teams in the playoffs. I think it depends on who that team is.
Yeah.
I don't think I want to either. But if that 3 lost team.
Let's talk about the Big Ten. Let's go to Big Ten real quick. All right. So when you go to 12, and just found out there'll be 14 in 2026. 14 is going to be your 3 loss. You might as well just go ahead and book that.
14 gives you 3 losses, yeah.
Yeah. But the problem is when they got rid of the Pac-12 and those conferences merged, you don't have the 3 loss matters less because it's a lot less subjective because teams play. So when Oregon's sitting over there in the Pac-12 playing and beating up on the sorriest teams in America, and then it's time to pick playoff teams and you wondering how good they are. You don't have to wonder no more because they have played good teams. So a three loss will indicate that they may be top 12. You know what I mean? And like Big Ten, let's say for instance you get a year. Let's say Michigan's back, right? And you get a year where Oregon plays Michigan, Ohio State, and they play Penn State, right? Something of that respect. If they drop to Penn State, Michigan's back, and Ohio State, how do you keep Oregon out?
You don't.
Right? I mean, because ain't nobody, for the most part, ain't nobody else beating them teams. So
you can't. That's the issue, right?
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the Big Ten. Okay, so Penn State, what are they ranked? Where are they? Hold on, let me pull it back up.
They're 6.
Okay, so Penn State's 6. So Penn State plays Washington, Minnesota, and Maryland. Washington, Purdue, Minnesota, and Maryland. They probably won't lose another game. So that's going to make them 11-1. So who else is on that list?
Well, you got Ohio State.
Okay, so let's just give them. So they're probably good. So then you have Ohio State, who has Purdue, Northwestern, Indiana, and Michigan. So that Indiana game is either going to give Ohio State 2 losses, but their 2 losses are going to be a number 1 Oregon and a number 8 Indiana. So they'll be whatever in 2.
Mhm.
Or if Indiana wins that, or if Indiana loses, then they'll be whatever in 1. So now we have 3 teams that could all be, well, no, Oregon will be undefeated. Penn State will be 11-1. Indiana will be 11-1, and Ohio State will be 11-1. So that's 4 teams. Who are you kicking out?
I don't think you're kicking out any of them.
So then,
I don't think you kick out any of them.
so then how's this going to work?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, but I'm okay. I'm okay with 9. I think we always kind of thought that anyway.
Do you would
Amongst the
you
two
want
conferences, not amongst two conferences.
would you want a 11-1 Big 10 over a 10? Would you want 11-1 Indiana over a 10-2 Texas?
No. No.
But you see what I'm saying?
No.
This is
I
what I've
wouldn't want
always
that.
said. There's going to be an SEC 2, 9-3. One of those records is going to hold more weight than some other conferences, depending on who has that record. I think
But
it's
see,
going to get tricky.
But see, I think it's enough slots to satisfy both conferences.
And kick out. So Tate is saying you kick out Army.
Yeah, Army ain't in it anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's enough slots to satisfy every conference. So you just, you get the one, you get BYU. We just hypothetically, we get BYU.
Yeah.
You get Miami, and then you get Boise. That's 3.
And then the 9 is 5 SEC and 5. Wait, but you forgot about the ACC.
No, I said Miami.
Okay.
Miami, you get Miami.
You think the ACC and SEC is going to fill 9 spots? So everybody else is.
I'm not saying that they're going to, but I could see that happening, and I don't have a problem with it.
I don't think I do either. But again, like we always say, like we've said from the beginning, is it's going to be who loses to who, when they lose to them, and how they lose to them, and then the Florida State elephant in the room. Did you lose to them because you lost your starting quarterback? Because I would be willing to say, and I'm not saying this just because I'm a Texas fan, I feel like Texas and maybe there's 2 other schools that have a decent second guy that could come in. There's not a lot of schools that they would be okay if a team lost their starting quarterback.
Right. And I think that rule is still in place. So yeah, I never had a problem with the Florida State move. I think they should have done that because it's not about
I don't either.
that. Yeah, it's about the best. It's always about the best teams, and that's what
and you
we
can't
always
be the
want.
best without your Can I just dream for a second? Can you imagine a Arch Manning led Texas in the playoffs? They would lose
I'm gonna leave that between you and Solid Gold.
Their crap. They would lose their crap. Are you kidding me? You know how many annoying commercials we would get, and they would have to match Texas up to play Tennessee or something, so they could see Peyton Manning's face the whole time while they were playing. But anyways, yeah, the Army situation, Go America, is going to be interesting to see what happens. But they played Notre Dame, and Notre Dame better not lose to Army. If Notre Dame loses to Army, they will deserve everything that happens after that. Because
I don't think even if they beat Notre Dame, they're getting in.
No, my thing is Notre Dame. Notre Dame can't afford to lose to Army.
Oh yeah.
They can't. You can't. You have to beat Army. You have to.
Yeah, I think they will.
Yeah.
They'll beat.
So, anyways, we're just here blabbing.
Yeah.
We were gonna do the NFL standings, but the truth is, there's so many bad teams that it's kind of obvious who's it's this team or it's this team, because this team has only won 2 games. So it's I didn't realize how many bad teams there were in the NFL until I started looking at records, and I was like, oh my God. It's like the top 2 teams, and then the other team has 2 wins. It's terrible. Terrible football.
It is.
Anyways, we will end on you. We've been on this for an hour and 40 minutes. So anything you want to share, anything you want to add, this is your time. I always feel like I
Oh.
talk too much.
Nope. I will say, hey, get ready for this exciting game tonight. Baltimore versus Cincinnati. Currently on Prime Video. Go check it out. Hey, and while you're doing it, watching the game, just do us a favor. Go over there to Really Flawed Show if you hadn't already done it, or go over there to Rawhide Media and hit that subscribe button and enjoy this
Oh,
content.
look at you. Okay, promo. Awesome. Well, we will see you all next week. Thanks,
Peace.
Rawhide.